Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're all about art and digital art, to be precise.
Oh, I love this stuff.
Me too. We're going to be looking at some really cool pieces. We'll break down the details, of course, but you know what I'm really excited for?
I think it's that.
Trying to figure out what stories these pieces might be trying to tell.
Ooh, yeah. One thing I love about these digital pieces is how they can really make you feel like you're right there in the scene, even without any words.
Totally. All right, so let's jump right into our first piece. It's called Fantasy Meets Tradition.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it really lives up to that name. We've
Hmm.
got this moonlit scene, and there's a woman at the center of it all. She just has this serene, almost like a glowing aura around her.
Hmm.
And she's wearing this incredibly detailed traditional outfit. I'm talking intricate jewelry, delicate embroidery, the works. But here's where things get interesting. Standing right beside her, completely unfazed, is this thing.
What is it?
I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a deer, but with these powerful dinosaur-like legs. And it has these large, intelligent eyes.
Wow. It's like you see that and it makes you stop and really take it all in.
Right.
You've got this feeling of tradition, of history, especially with the woman's clothing, and then bam, this totally fantastical creature that seems like it's from a different planet.
Exactly. But the thing is, they seem so natural together in the scene. It's not jarring or anything.
It's like she's found this perfect balance between these two worlds, the familiar and the unknown. And her face. She doesn't look bothered at all by this unusual creature hanging out with her.
Not one bit.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Right, yeah.
It suggests that they have this deep sense of harmony, a bond that goes way beyond the ordinary.
Definitely. I'm also fascinated by how the image doesn't tell us everything.
It's true.
It's like a single frame from a much larger story, you know? And instead of giving us all the answers, it makes us ask the questions.
Right, like what's their story? How did they meet? What's their connection?
Yes. Is she a protector of these creatures, or is there something even deeper going on? I love that.
Me too. And I think that's what makes this kind of art so captivating. It sparks our curiosity. We want to fill in the blanks ourselves, create our own interpretations.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about sparking the imagination.
Exactly. Which brings us to our next piece, Whimsical Train Journey. This was just bursting with fun and imagination.
This one's great. So we've got this steam train, right? It's chugging along through this wild natural landscape. Pretty standard so far, right?
Okay.
But here's where it gets interesting. Driving this train is this tiny little figure with a pipe. He looks very official.
Okay, I like it.
And beside the train, get this, there's this giant blue, almost comical looking character in a robe. They look completely confused. Like, what am I doing here?
Oh, no. And if that wasn't enough, the train itself is labeled Air Canets. What do you think that means?
Air Cadets, Air Cadet. It's like a myth, a legend. Blending air and maybe arc. So instead of a normal train ride, it's more like a journey through different dimensions.
Yeah.
Maybe even through the air itself. And then there's our blue friend. Who is this character? What's their deal?
Seriously, it's those little details, that just add these layers of intrigue. It's like the train's about to burst right out of the picture. And that sense of movement, it pulls you right in.
For sure.
Makes you want to hop on board and see where it goes. Speaking of journeys, this next piece, Crisis at the City's Edge.
Yeah.
Well, it takes us on a bit of a different kind of trip.
Yeah, this one definitely has a different vibe. Instead of all that lighthearted energy, there's this sense of, I don't know, unease, like something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
And the scene is this rocky cliff, and you can see this sprawling city in the distance. But then there's this volcano in the background, and it's smoking menacingly.
Not a good sign.
Nope. And then, to make matters worse, there's this weird reddish-orange cloud just hanging in the sky.
Adding to the drama.
Totally. And perched right on the edge of this cliff, almost like they could fall off at any moment, are these two figures. They're older, dressed in very formal clothing, and they're deep in conversation at a small table.
Wow, it's interesting how those different parts of the picture play off of each other. You have the city, it represents stability, permanence, but then you've got the volcano, the strange cloud. Those feel threatening.
Totally. And what about those two figures? They seem oddly calm, considering they're practically hanging off a cliff, like they've seen it all, and are just trying to figure out their next move.
It really makes you wonder, what's happening in this world? What event could bring these two to this precarious spot for a meeting?
Right. And what about that bottle on the table between them? What do you think that symbolizes?
It's like a puzzle piece. Is it a solution to their problems? Their last resort? Or maybe it represents the burden they're carrying together.
Ooh, I like that.
It's interesting how these images can have so many layers of meaning, you know? What does it make you think of?
For me, it kind of looks like a lifeline. Like maybe it's something that can help them through this crisis, but then again, it could also be a source of conflict.
Totally. It all depends on your perspective.
That's the beauty of art, right? It's open to interpretation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love how it makes you think. This piece, it's like a visual representation of the choices we make when things get tough.
Ooh, I like that.
Do you try to hold on, stay in control? Or do you just let it go and accept whatever happens?
Wow. That's deep.
This image, it doesn't give us an answer.
Yeah.
But it definitely poses the question. It's thought-provoking.
It really is. Speaking of thought-provoking, this next piece, harmony with nature and cosmos. Man, I was hooked from the moment I laid eyes on it. It's such a contrast from that last one.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like stepping into a world of pure peacefulness.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's this incredible landscape with mountains reflected in a lake. It's so still and serene, and there's this massive celestial body hanging in the sky.
Oh, wow.
But here's the thing. It's the tree in the front that really draws you in. This ancient, gnarled tree, its roots are spread out like fingers, almost a part of the earth itself.
And there's someone sitting under it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost blending into the tree as a lone figure, deep in meditation.
It just screams connection, doesn't it? You've got the
Yeah.
immensity of space up there with that celestial body, and it's all reflected down in the stillness of the lake. And right in the middle, connecting it all, is that figures. They're like a bridge between the heavens and the earth.
That's a great way to put it. I also noticed there are these birds flying around. They're a symbol of freedom, of movement.
Right.
But they're drawn to the tree, too, like it's this point of grounding.
I see it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like that part of us that wants to explore, discover new things. But we also need that sense of belonging, a place where we feel safe and grounded. This piece captures that perfectly.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, but looking at it just makes me think about how small we really are. The universe is so vast, and our worries, they just seem to fade away in comparison.
I know, right? And yet, in all that vastness, this figure, they found their peace. They found their connection.
Exactly.
It makes you think that maybe inner peace is possible. No matter what's happening around us, all you have to do is find that moment of stillness. Reconnect with yourself, with the natural world.
I love that. Okay, speaking of connections, I think our next image, Wisdom in the Cosmos, has a different kind of energy.
You're right, this one's got a powerful symbolic vibe. It's like looking at the very idea of consciousness.
Whoa. Okay, so picture this. We're face to face with this elderly man. He's got this amazing crown of beads, and he's surrounded by these swirling organic shapes. They look like vines or flowers, maybe both. And you can see the sun, moon, and stars peeking through all of it. What really gets me, though, are the colors. It's mostly blue, which usually makes me think of peace and tranquility, right?
Right.
But there's this underlying, I don't know, intensity. It's like the whole image is vibrating.
Interesting. You know, you're right. Blue can mean peace, but it can also mean wisdom, deep knowledge, even a little bit of sadness. You know, things we associate with getting older, having more experiences.
Yeah.
And you're right, there's a real energy to this piece.
Yeah.
Way more dynamic than the last one.
It is, and don't even get me started on the detail. It's incredible. Every little leaf, every bead, it's like the artist put their whole heart and soul into this intricate tapestry of life and experience.
Right. It reminds me of that Art Nouveau style.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
The organic shapes, those flowing lines, and all those tiny details. It's like taking something from the past and bringing it into the present. But there's also this timeless quality, you know, something that speaks to what it means to be human. No matter what culture, what time period, we all share that.
I know what you mean. It's like we're seeing a whole life lived right there in the image, all the wisdom, all the experiences etched into every detail.
Exactly. But it's not just about one life, is it? The sun, moon, and stars.
Yeah.
They're woven right into the background.
That's true.
Like a little reminder that as much as we're individuals, we're also part of something much bigger than ourselves.
I love that. And speaking of big, we can't end today without talking about our last piece for today. This one is called, are you ready for this? Surreal Landscape, Lava Fall, and a Storybook Town.
Okay, that is a mouthful. And this one, wow, it's like a buffet for the imagination.
Right. Get this. There's a massive lava fall pouring down a cliff. But instead of a fiery wasteland at the bottom, it's flowing into this lush green valley.
No way.
And nestled in that valley is the cutest little storybook town you've ever seen. Cobblestone streets, little houses with smoke curling out of the chimneys.
This is incredible.
Oh, and I almost forgot. There's a giant, hyper-realistic Earth and moon just casually hanging in the sky.
Why not?
Right. Like the artist just took every magical thing they could think of and threw it all into one amazing, surreal landscape.
And somehow it works. It's strange, but there's also this weird harmony to it all. You've got the raw power of nature, the lava, the earth, the moon, right alongside this charming little town. It's like a reminder that you can find beauty and wonder in the most unexpected places.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about those two figures in the front.
Ah, yes. Our adventurers.
One of them is perched on the edge of the cliff, just taking it all in.
Yeah, they're content to watch from a distance. Contemplate the view. I get it.
Right, but then there's the other one. They're walking toward the lava fall. Like they're drawn to its power.
It's like they represent those two different ways of approaching the unknown. One is careful, watching from afar, while the other one dives right in, head first.
Totally. It makes you think about that last piece, the one with the wise old man. It's like he'd found this balance between those two impulses.
That's what you're saying.
He had this sense of wonder, this desire to engage with the world, but he also had this deep inner peace, this acceptance. It makes me wonder if that's what we're all searching for, that ability to embrace both the awe-inspiring and the everyday with the same sense of wonder.
That's a beautiful thought. And it really speaks to the power of art, especially art like this, that lets our imaginations run wild. These pieces, they don't give us easy answers, which I love. They make us ask big questions, dig deep into our own creativity, and find beauty and meaning in everything around us.
I totally agree. It's like each of these images, it's a world of its own.
Yeah.
And we get to step into those worlds and explore them, feel all the emotions they evoke.
Yes. From pure joy and excitement to deep thought and reflection, it's all there.
Exactly. And maybe that's the point, isn't it? It's not about having all the answers, but about never being afraid to ask the questions.
I love that. It's about being open to new perspectives, being willing to explore different ways of seeing and experiencing the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about being open to new perspectives, being willing to explore different ways of seeing and experiencing the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So we started with this idea of diving into these digital artworks.
Yeah.
But it's become something more, It's like a reflection on what art and imagination really are.
Yeah,
how art can take us to these different places, make us think differently, maybe even teach us something about ourselves that we didn't know before.
Exactly. These images, they're not just pretty pictures to look at. They're invitations.
To do what?
To go on your own adventures.
Yeah.
To use your imagination.
I like that. So they're like a starting point,
Yeah.
spark to get your own creativity flowing.
Yes.
So on that note, I think we should probably move on to our next piece.
Okay, sounds good.
This one is called Harmony with Nature and Cosmos, and let me tell you, it's a total shift from the last one.
Oh, really? In what way?
This one is all about peace, tranquility.
Ooh, I love those vibes.
Me too. Okay, so imagine this. A breathtaking landscape. Mountains in the background, reflected in this perfectly still lake, and dominating the sky is this massive celestial body.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Right. But it's the tree in the foreground that really steals the show.
Mm.
This ancient, gnarled tree, its roots spreading out like grasping fingers.
It sounds like it's almost a part of the earth itself.
That's exactly what it looks like. And underneath the tree, almost blending in with its branches, is a lone figure, deep in meditation.
It's like they're connected to the tree, drawing energy from it.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about connection, this piece. You've got the vastness of the cosmos up there, represented by that celestial body.
Right.
And it's all reflected down below in the stillness of the water.
And the meditating figure, they're right in the middle of it all.
Exactly. It's like they're the bridge between those two worlds, the celestial and the earthly.
It's a powerful image.
It is. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention there are these birds flying around in the image, too.
Interesting. What kind of birds?
I'm not sure I can tell you the exact species, but they're just these beautiful, graceful creatures.
Okay, yeah.
And they're a symbol of freedom, of movement, right? But they're drawn to the tree, too. Like, it's a safe haven for them.
I see what you're saying. It's like that duality we all have within us. We want to explore, experience new things, be free. But we also crave that sense of belonging, a place where we feel grounded and safe.
Exactly. And this image, it captures that so beautifully.
It does. It's a good reminder that it's okay to want both of those things, to explore and to have roots.
I love that. Whenever I look at this piece, it makes me think about just how small we really are in the grand scheme of things.
I know what you mean.
The universe is so vast, and our worries, they just seem to fade away in comparison.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it?
It is, but it's also kind of comforting, Like, maybe our problems aren't as big as we think they are.
Yeah, it's all about perspective, isn't it?
Exactly. And this image, it gives you a whole new perspective on things. It reminds you to find that inner peace, that connection with something bigger than yourself.
I agree. It's a beautiful reminder.
It is. Okay, ready for our next piece.
Always. Hit me with it.
This one is called Wisdom in the Cosmos, and it's got a very different energy from the last one.
Oh, tell me more.
Okay, so this one, it's a close-up of an elderly man. He's got this amazing crown of beads on his head.
Okay.
And he's surrounded by these swirling, organic shapes. They look like vines or flowers, maybe a bit of both.
Interesting.
And through all of these shapes, you can see glimpses of the sun, the moon, and the stars.
Wow, that's a powerful combination of elements.
Right. What really gets me about this one are the colors. It's mostly blue, which I usually associate with peace and tranquility.
Yeah, blue can be very calming.
Exactly. But there's this underlying, I don't know, intensity to it. It's like the whole image is vibrating with some kind of energy.
I see what you mean. It's like there's more to it than meets the eye.
Exactly. It's not just peaceful, it's powerful.
It makes you think about what those colors might represent. Blue can also symbolize wisdom, deep knowledge, the kind of things that come with age and experience.
That's so true.
And yeah, you're right. There's a definite energy to this one. It's not static. It's dynamic.
It is. And the detail, every leaf, every bead, it's all so meticulously rendered. It's like the artist poured their whole heart and soul into this piece.
It's true. It's amazing how much detail can add to the overall feeling of a piece. Yeah.
Right. It's like you can feel the artist's dedication in every brushstroke.
Exactly. It makes you want to keep looking to discover every little nuance.
Okay, so we've talked about the colors, the details.
Yeah.
But what about the overall composition? What do you make of that?
Well, to me, it speaks to the interconnectedness of everything. You've got
Yeah.
the human figure at the center. But he's not just this isolated being, you know? He's surrounded by these natural elements, these celestial bodies.
It's like he's part of something much larger than himself.
Exactly. It's a reminder that we're all connected to each other, to nature, to the universe.
I love that. It's a beautiful message.
It is. It's a reminder to stay humble, to recognize that we're just one small part of something much, much bigger.
Beautifully said. And you know what? I think this idea, interconnectedness, it leads perfectly into our last piece for today.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, this one's called Surreal Landscape, Lava Fall, and a Storybook Town. And it's all about bringing together these seemingly disparate elements into one cohesive whole.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, this one's called Surreal Landscape, Lava Fall, and a Storybook Town. And it's all about bringing together these seemingly disparate elements into one cohesive whole.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
All right, so picture this. You've got this massive lava fall cascading down a cliff face.
Okay, already sounds pretty surreal.
Right, but here's the thing. Instead of crashing down into a fiery abyss, the lava, it flows into this lush green valley.
Whoa, what? That's unexpected.
Right, and nestled in this valley, there's this adorable little storybook town, cobblestone streets, cute little houses with smoke puffing out of the chimneys. It's like something out of a children's book.
I love it. It's like a clash of opposites.
It is. And to make things even more surreal, there's a giant, hyper-realistic Earth and moon just hanging out in the sky.
Of course there is. Why not?
Exactly. It's like the artist took every fantastical element they could think of and just threw it all into one image.
And yet you said it works.
It totally works. It's strange for sure, but there's this weird harmony to it all. You've got the raw power of nature on full display with the lava fall, the earth, the moon.
Right.
But then you've also got this charming little town completely at peace with its surroundings. It's like a reminder that beauty and wonder can exist anywhere, even in the most unexpected places.
I like that. It's a good reminder to stay open to the possibilities.
Exactly. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention there are these two figures in the foreground of the image.
Oh, tell me about them.
Well, one of them is perched on the edge of the cliff, just gazing out at the scene. They seem content to just observe, contemplate.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Sometimes you just got to soak it all in.
Right. But then there's this other figure, and they're walking towards the lava fall.
Interesting. They're drawn to it.
Exactly. It's like they represent those two different ways of approaching the unknown.
Oh, I see what you're saying. One is cautious, hesitant, while the other one dives right in, eager to experience it all.
You got it. And it made me think about that piece we talked about earlier, the one with the wise old man.
The one with the crown of beads.
That's the one. It's like he'd found this balance between those two impulses, the desire to explore, to experience, but also the wisdom to know when to hold back, to observe.
I see what you're saying. It's like he'd found that sweet spot between curiosity and contentment.
Exactly. And it makes me wonder, is that what we're all striving for in a way? That ability to embrace both the awe-inspiring and the everyday with the same sense of wonder and appreciation?
That's a beautiful thought. And you know what? I think that's the power of art, especially art like this, that really sparks our imagination. It doesn't give us easy answers.
Which I love.
Me too. It encourages us to ask the big questions, to look for meaning in the world around us, and to explore the depths of our own creativity.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And I think that's a perfect note to end on, don't you?
I agree. It's been a wild ride through these amazing digital worlds.
It really has. We've gone from fantastical creatures to serene landscapes, from moments of crisis to visions of harmony.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Exactly. There's a whole universe of digital art out there just waiting to be explored.
So true.
So to everyone listening, keep those imaginations fired up. Keep asking those big questions, and we'll see you on our next deep dive into the world of art and imagination.
See you next time.